As you guys know, I did the Fast Mimicking Diet, which was the 5-day fast by Dr. Walter Longo, and I wanted to just talk about my experience with it, what my results were, what my thoughts were, and also any tips that I have for anybody who might be doing this, or even if I were to do this the next time, or if I even will be doing this the next time, I'll answer that. So keep watching and let's get into it. I want to start off by saying that prior to doing this fast, I actually was doing intermittent fasting. So I actually ate one meal a day and it was around 4 to 6 p.m. Day one was probably the easiest because of the fact that I wasn't hungry until probably around 2 o'clock. So I ate my first meal at 3 o'clock p.m. So the first part of the day was pretty easy breezy. It was just like a regular day. And then at 3 o'clock when I ate my food was when I started feeling a little bit weird. So I was feeling kind of off in the sense that like after I ate, I felt a little bit too full or a little bit nauseous or something weird like that. And then I also got an onset of a headache. So that was really annoying because it messed up the rest of my day. But yeah, that was the first day. I already had the symptoms of getting that headache. And the way I kind of helped that on the first day was to put some peppermint oil. I put it onto my temples and then I also rub it here onto the top of my forehead for a cooling sensation. And then I also put a little bit underneath my nose so I could breathe in that peppermint oil, which kind of calms me down. So day one, it wasn't that bad. I just got that gnarly headache that came in the afternoon after I ate. That kind of stayed with me throughout the rest of the night. All right, so day two. Day two was when things got really messed up. So I woke up that day and I had a full-blown cold. So I was fighting a cold for probably 2 to 3 weeks prior to this, and it never actually formed into a cold. But day two, I woke up and I literally had all the symptoms. On top of that, I actually ended up getting my period that day. So that was dilemma number 2. And on top of that, I woke up with that same darn headache that I had the first day. So I had a headache the entire day for day 2. And to top that all off, my neck and my shoulder, it just felt so tense and tight and I didn't know what to do. So that day, I did not focus anything on the food. I wasn't hungry, I didn't have any hunger pains. I just ate my meals as I was supposed to. But then my main concern was obviously just my headache and not feeling well. So when I got a massage that day, I got an hour-and-a-half massage, and that really helped me. So it kind of released that tension that I had in my neck and shoulders, and it also obviously calmed me down a little bit to de-stress me, and my body was just kind of able to kind of recover a little bit during that time. So that day I really made use of my peppermint oil. I just had that headache. My neck was like so sore, so I literally slathered it all over me. I put it onto my forehead, my temples, underneath my nose. I put it onto my neck and my shoulders for that cooling sensation to give it a little bit of relief. And then on top of that, I got a Thai inhalant. It's kind of like a mixture of herbs that you kind of use to inhale, and it kind of helped my headache and it kind of helped calm me down and soothe it. It's very fragrant. It was something where when I smelled it, it was calming, but yet it was kind of like invigorating at the same time. So that day I had a lot of physical symptoms, and it had nothing to do with like the food or the hunger or anything like that. It just was my body kind of doing its thing with the fast. Now it's day 3. Day 3, I woke up, I didn't have a headache anymore. So that was like the most awesome thing because I didn't have that headache. My neck was still tense, and I still obviously had my period, and I still had a little bit of a symptom of a cold, but I was physically feeling better and I didn't have a headache. So I actually went and did a workout. I actually did 30 minutes on the treadmill. It wasn't anything hardcore because my muscles and everything are still rehabilitating, but I was able to do 30 minutes. It was where I was able to do a really fast-paced walking, and the fact that I was able to do that was really good. And that day I ended up just taking a bath because my neck and shoulders were just so tense, and I did a face mask that day, and again, you know, I used my peppermint oil and my Thai inhalant to kind of help me through. That day I actually made sure that my meals were there because I was like hungry. I was hungry at each mealtime, but I wasn't having any hunger pains or anything like that. I wasn't starving. I just was ready for my mealtime during that day. So yeah, day 3 was pretty good. It was kind of like getting over the hump. Day 4 kind of just felt like it was like, all right, let's get through day 4. We're almost to day 5. That's just kind of what it felt like to me. I didn't have any symptoms. Kind of felt like being on this fast, it kind of hit me hard on that second day when I woke up with a cold. But by the third and fourth day, it was kind of barely there, but I still had a little teeny tiny bit of like maybe a little bit of a stuffy nose here and there, but it wasn't like all day long with symptoms. I did feel a little bit more hungry, so I made sure to ration out my food. And so I would prepare it the night before and figure out what I was going to eat for lunch or dinner or whatever, my snacks, and I try to plan it around my day. So day 4, I was just really trying to ration out my food to make sure I had enough food to last me through the day so I wasn't like starving by the end of the night. And again, I didn't have any hunger pains with day 4. I just was ready to eat when it was mealtime. So at day 4, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so close to day 5. I'm almost there. Let's just get there. And day 5 finally comes. In the morning, I'm like starving. And this is the first time I'm actually like starving, not at a mealtime, a regular set mealtime. So on day 5, I wake up, I'm starving, I eat a little snack bar, and then I continue on with my day. And day 5, mind you, it has the least amount of food. So I just try to really make sure that I was pacing myself through the day, because by the end of the night, I didn't want to be like so hungry that I couldn't like kind of make it through the last couple of hours. So day 5 was interesting because I just kept thinking about what I was gonna eat for day 6. So I was thinking like, what am I gonna eat tomorrow? Do I eat In-N-Out? Because that's what I really want. Or do I go and eat like a salad or something? So that was kind of what was going on through my head the entire day, trying to figure out what to eat. So I ended up actually eating, for anybody who's curious, I ended up eating a salad from Urban Plates, and it was a steak salad. So it had its protein and it also had its grains, and I had 1 slice of bread. So it was a pretty well-balanced meal. So I feel like, and I felt okay after eating it. So it was good. So after doing the 5 days, I actually lost 5 pounds. And I think it was on day 3 that I did my first weigh-in, and at that time I had lost 4 pounds. And then obviously the next 2 days I just lost 1 pound throughout that time. And so my overall thought on this whole entire fasting system is that it was actually a really good system. It was simple, easy to kind of not think about. It was a no-brainer to kind of do these like meals. And the most annoying part of these meals was really just to wash that pot over and over again for each darn soup of the day. And outside of that, it was pretty easy to follow. So I really like the simple structure and that they kind of provide everything for you, and it just kind of made it easy for me because I can't think when I'm trying to do this like fast. So it took that out of that equation and kind of put it all there for you. So now the question, would I do this again? Yes, I would definitely do this again. They do recommend that you do this probably once a quarter to kind of reset your system. But for some people who might need it a little bit more due to their health issues, they might recommend you to do it like once a month. But for me, I think that I would want to do it at least once a quarter to kind of reset my system and remind myself that I don't need that much food. I think that throughout this, you realize that the set amount of food that they had seemed so small, but it was enough, and you didn't feel hungry after. You were actually full, and it wasn't a lot of food. So we obviously overindulge ourselves every single day of our lives, and I think this is kind of a good way to kind of take a step back from that, reset your system, and remind yourself to kind of pace yourself on your food. So I know a lot of people actually have their own fast mimicking diet, so they come up with their own diet that works with this program. You try to use the concept of Dr. Longo, and I think that their program is the safest for me just because they have done the research, they have the scientific knowledge on this, and I don't know that. So the types of foods that I would be choosing to eat, I don't know what kind of effect it'll have on my body and the fasting that it's supposed to be doing. So I wouldn't go and just eat any foods that I would put together or that I've read other people doing. I would actually just stick to their diet that they have catered and put together for this specifically. And the reason why for me I'm more hesitant to do something else is also because, as you guys know, I do have GBS or Guillain Barre, and it is an autoimmune disorder, and because of that, I don't want to lose any muscle, which, you know, doing regular water fasting can do to your body. So I don't want that to happen, and I want to make sure that my body isn't going to compensate for the fasting somewhere else by taking something else from me. So I feel like doing the ProLon box actually gives you the safest way to kind of do a fast while still getting the fasting results. So after kind of going through my 5-day experience, I actually didn't think it was that bad. I think that the food was pretty decent. It reminded me of like camp food or like emergency food that you would have in case of a disaster. It wasn't that terrible, and it was edible. So it was only 5 days. It was just kind of like a mental thing of like, all right, 5 days, focus, zone in, let's just get it done. And I think that kind of worked for me at least. It was something where I knew it was like backed by science to say, hey, these results will happen. And it did definitely get me straight into, like, even on the first day, that, you know, the headaches and the symptoms that I had, the physical responses that I had, started very early on. And I feel like, you know, those are all parts of it. Even looking back now, I think like that neck pain that I had, the neck and shoulder pain, I think it was probably inflamed, which is why that pain had come along. And it just was so achy, so painful. And I think it was just it kind of healing itself through the fasting process. And it's so hard to say what is happening or what actually got improved because I can't say. Physically, I lost 5 pounds. I think my skin was pretty glowy afterwards. And obviously, I think I felt lighter. I didn't feel like I had so much energy, but I felt like, you know, good. And internally, though, I can't really measure what happened, but I will say that I do believe something happened. All right, now to go over the tips that I kind of already mentioned are going to just be trying to keep yourself busy. So I actually try to make sure that my schedule was filled with something that I can be doing to occupy my time. And I watched a ton of Hallmark movies because they played one after another. So I literally just sat there and watched it. And because I had a cold and I wasn't feeling well, I just kind of stayed in for most of the 5 days. And I just kind of really relaxed and kept my energy level, you know, just within myself and only used it when I needed to. And I just did a lot of self-care. So I took a bath, I, you know, used like those things to kind of make myself feel better. I used like, you know, my body oils to kind of like massage in the body oil, take the time to go and do that. I did face masks, I did my nails, things like that. So I kind of was able to have some time to do some self-care for myself while I'm kind of like going through this like fasting process. My lifesavers were the peppermint oil and that Thai inhalant. I think those two things really helped me when I wasn't feeling well and just kind of kept me going throughout the whole entire time to feel a little bit better. And those things I can't live without on a daily basis anyway, but throughout this process it really helped. And again, that massage, it really helps just kind of ease the tension. I do know some people who were on this fast and they did get a massage while they were hungry and they hated it, but I loved it and I wasn't that hungry, so I think maybe that was why too. But I actually really enjoyed the massage. But just so you know, some people may not like getting touched when they're like starving. All right, now is my tips for the food portion. So for the food portion, I think that I learned that when they give you the powdered soups, you should actually put it into like a soup bowl or something, put a little bit of water and kind of make it into a paste and get out all those chunks and make it smooth, and then add a ton of water and just mix it up. And so that way you have a smooth soup already, and then you dump it into your pot that you're going to boil everything in. Because what I did was I just dumped everything into the pot, and it would just took forever for me to like dissolve those chunks because it's a little bit gelatiny. Yeah, it just didn't dissolve easily and it got me really frustrated. So what I really found to help was to dissolve a little bit of it first and then put it into the soup bowl or pot. And another thing is also I added a ton of water into my soup. So instead of making like a small bowl, which some people do where it's more condensed and concentrated, I actually took that and I made it into a bigger bowl, less flavor, but yet it was more filling. So it worked for me. It just kind of tasted like watery soup. And I was okay with that, but some people may not be. But I felt that it really helped because it made me really feel full after drinking it. And on the subject of the soups, I actually take, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to even say this, but when I get those little olive packets, It sounds desperate, but there's leftover juice in there and it has sodium in it because olives are salty, and it has flavor to it because, you know, there's a regular one, but there's also a garlic flavored one which has some herbs in it. So I take whatever is left over in any of those packets and I throw it into my soup for extra flavor. And it kind of just makes me feel like I'm getting a little extra something into it. And you can even take the olives and throw it into your soup as well if you want it warmed up instead of like as a snack. And I did that too. It kind of felt like it was a little bit more hearty. And also, as you know, you get crackers with it. And what I do with the crackers is I also kind of break that up and throw it into the soup. So it feels like I'm actually getting some kind of substantial like bite versus it just being all liquid. Also with those kale crackers, since it is I think a bag of like about 6 crackers, I actually split it. So I have like half of it for lunch and then the other half for dinner. So I have a little bit of the carbs in each meal to kind of fill me up and make me feel more satisfied. And my one last tip with the soups is that what I did actually for one of my meals, and this was kind of by accident, was I missed my lunchtime, so I ended up just doing one meal for that day. And because of that, I actually ended up just blending the 2 soups together. I want to say it was like lunchtime tomato and dinner time minestrone, and I just combined the 2, and it was actually really good. It was very flavorful because it had double the flavor, and I just only made that same portion of soup, and it was really good. And so I would say if I were to do it again and I had known about it sooner, I probably would take my lunch and my dinner, and I would probably just do like half the bag for lunch, half the bag for dinner, and have a mixed soup. And then for dinner, I would have half. And if you can, I would actually want to do this for the next fast. I couldn't do it this time around because of the fact that I had, you know, just a weakened body because of being sick and my period and things like that. Because of that, I wasn't able to do this. But for the next round, if I were to do it, I want to try to do intermittent fasting with the ProLon food. So I would want to essentially just eat one meal or keep it all within like maybe 2 hours a time or something. And lastly, if you are a person who likes ice cold drinks versus hot drinks, I would definitely recommend you fill up that big old bottle all with ice. I felt like that was so refreshing to have like this ice cold drink, and it was just like this extra energy boost for me every time I drank it because it was just nice and cold and refreshing. And the way you make your hibiscus tea, if you didn't already know, I just made it in a mason jar, and I just put some boiling water in it, and then after I steeped it for a little bit, I added regular room temperature water, and then I kind of let that sit again, and then I put it into my big bottle, and then I would just fill up the mason jar again with regular water, put it into the fridge, and then wait for my second round. At the second half of the day, if I got thirsty, I would just refill it. Again, fill up my ice, and then I would refill it with the tea. Alright guys, so that's it. That was my 5-day fast. I definitely, again, like I said, I would do it again, and I plan to do it again. And I hope that you guys will kind of give it a shot to try it at least, because I feel like it is something that's worth trying. It is a very safe method. I feel that, you know, it's definitely good to reset your system every once in a while to kind of change it up on your body. Again, I am not someone who is in the medical field. I don't know anything. I'm not trying to give you guys advice. I'm just saying that this is my experience, this is my opinion. Alright, so everything that I have linked below in the first video, I will link again on the bottom of the description box, and that way you can have your, I think it's a $10 or 10% off code from ProLon. It's not a referral code or anything from me directly. It's just something that ProLon does if you refer a friend. Go ahead and just sign up for those things if you guys are interested in doing it. And leave a comment if you guys have any other questions, or if you guys have your own experience and want to share, please feel free to share it. Alright, outside of that, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!